Hey, this is CJ.
And I'm Raimi.
And you're listening to Jam Chats
on BYU Radio.
Today, we're talking to Matt Harding.
Big, big city. I was wrong. That was headed for nowhere fast. Why is everybody so afraid to die?
Matt Harding is the best artist you've never heard of. Originally from Orem, Utah, Matt's folksy, bluesy sound has taken him across the world, including places like Shanghai, Spain, Brazil, New York, and the Philippines.
Today, we'll chat with Matt about his journey across the world, what he's learned, and what brought him back home to Utah.
Get ready for some great music, because Jam Chats starts now.
There you will find.
Matt, welcome to Jam Chats.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, thanks for being on. We want to just jump right into your life. So let's start with where are you from?
I'm from Orem, and that's it.
And that's it, from Orem.
From Orem, yeah. We moved to Orem in the mid-'70s, and just was kind of an idyllic time to grow up for Gen Xers, those of us who like to mythologize our upbringing. I just remember playing outside a lot, looking for snakes and catching lizards and scorpions, that kind of a thing, riding our bikes.
Somehow, you got into music.
Mm-hmm.
So where did that all stem from?
So according to my mother, she said I was always singing. She said I always sang. Ever since I was little, just sang and sang and sang and sang. I joined the church choir with my dad and my brothers. So I was in the church choir for years and years.
So the church got you singing?
Yeah, the church, I think the 4-part bass, tenor, alto, soprano, those 4 parts really, I think, influenced the way that I perceive music and the way that I filter music. And then we'd sing a lot with our extended family, both sides of my dad's side and my mom's side. Everybody sang. So we'd all get together and we'd just sing. I wasn't like the singer. Yeah. It's like everyone was a singer. Still are, so.
Well, I want to hear something.
I'd love to get into some music.
You know, we're talking. This is the chat part of Jam Chats, but let's get into the jam part of Jam Chats, shall we?
Let's do it.
So this is a song called You're Mine, and this song I wrote in the mid-'90s when I was working at the Great Salt Lake Guitar Company, and this was while I was attending BYU for my undergrad. And it was a song about finding your person. And me being the kind of person I was, I didn't have a whole lot of luck in Utah Valley. It's just a little bit too squirrely.
Yeah.
And so I wrote a song. It's called You're Mine, and it's about fantasizing about the partner that you haven't met yet. And it's a kind of a blues style. And this was recorded in, I think, June of 2000 in Pinnacle, North Carolina with just myself and Cool John Ferguson in a farmhouse living room with 2 B&K instrument mics.
That sounds like my kind of
measurement
recording.
mics.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
So let's listen to this now. This is off the album Lovely Lady, and this is Matt Harding on Jam Chats.
I'm rolling. Okay, you ready? I'm never lonely, I'm never blue, just too busy thinking about you, 'cause you're my baby, and I'm your loving man. My imagination is a beautiful thing, picks me up and makes me want to sing, that you're my baby, and I'm your loving man. Lately I've been looking, really searching, been beating all the bushes for you. Although I never met you, sure don't wanna upset you. What's a boy like me supposed to do? All right, John.
Yeah, the sun is always shining, the sky is never gray, my future's looking brighter every day. So come on, take a little chance, believe in true romance, I would not have it any other way. So just one little thing before I go, there's something that I want you to know. You are my baby, and I'm your loving man. Where you'll always be my baby, and I'll always be your loving man. Do 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 do.
Matt, that just feels so good. Two guys in a room playing the blues. Tell me about that blues influence that you have. You're from Orem, Utah. We're not usually associated with the blues.
So, okay, I don't have to explain that part then. You just did. I kind of had a artistic dilemma in that I felt that my life was pretty saccharine. Let me put it this way. I didn't feel authentic. And this was in between my junior and senior year at BYU. I just had an epiphany. I was like, you know what? I said to my father, I said, Dad, I want to know that the life that I'm living is the life that I've chosen. Now, he didn't like that very much at the time. He's like, whoa, hold on, man. And I dropped out of school, and I had a buddy, and we decided, dude, let's go to Europe. Let's backpack to Europe. So we got a one-way ticket to Amsterdam.
Wow.
After traveling in Europe for about 3 months, I had a buddy of mine who said, hey, Matt, why don't you come visit Shanghai? I know that you'd studied Chinese kind of for your minor at BYU. Why don't you come over to Shanghai? My parents have a place you can stay. So instead of going back to school, I went out to Shanghai. And I took a guitar with me. I had $50 in my pocket, and I had a place to stay. And I started teaching expat kids guitar. The Western music that was going on there was largely Filipino bands. And then they had a blues and a jazz jam at the hotel where my friend's parents had their apartment. And I ended up going to this place called the House of Blues and Jazz. And the owner of the bar, his name is Ling Dongfu. And he had thousands of blues CDs that he played through a hi-fi. And his bar wasn't much bigger than this studio. And my connection to the blues was Eric Clapton.
Okay.
When I go to Ling Dongfu's bar, the House of Blues and Jazz, he puts on John Lee Hooker. He puts on Muddy Waters. He puts on Howlin' Wolf. He puts on Lightning Hopkins. And I felt something inside him. I was like, ooh, what is this? Well, you can express yourself. You can, like, holla. You know, when you're playing. So I adopted this vibe as best I could. I remember one night kind of hollering. You guys know what that means, right? It's like when you really put yourself into something that you're singing. And one night I was playing in Ling Dongfu's club, and I was just hollering out a song when I was just singing like, hey, hey. And we had some military police people in the bar, and they rolled up in a Cadillac. And they had these special license plate that has a special character, and it's red, and you know those are the military police, and you don't mess with them. They get what they want. They do what they want. And so this guy's, making fun of me while I'm singing in the bar. And Ling Dongfu, the owner of the bar, he is a well-known actor in China. He's very slender, very elegant, good-looking guy. Always has a little pipe in his hand, and he's just elegant as could be. He grabs a bar stool. Well, first he tells the guy to stop making fun of me while I'm playing, and the guy just persists. Ling Dongfu grabs a bar stool, big oak bar stool, the mid-height, cracks it over the guy's nose.
What?
Yeah.
The police?
Yeah.
Yeah. What? While you're playing?
Yeah, while I was playing.
It's amazing.
While I was playing, and he defended the blues that night, and he defended my right to be an artist in that context at that time, and it was life-changing.
Freedom.
I want to give credit where credit is due. I give Ling Dongfu credit for introducing me to the real blues, like to real Delta blues, and for defending the blues, where things could have gone very differently had he buckled. And somehow, some way, he had enough notoriety and enough, what they call in Chinese, guanxi, connections that they were able to smooth it out. But he cracked a bar stool over a military police guy's nose.
That's amazing. A boy from Orem, Utah has to find out what the blues are in Shanghai.
Yeah.
That is quite a story, Matt. That's amazing.
I have so many questions. Oh, I want to start here. Tell me about the moment when you were like, I'm not going back to school. I'm just going to go. Because that's a pivotal moment, especially in a young person's life where you're choosing to not go the path that maybe your parents or other influences are kind of expecting you to go, and you're doing what you feel is right. Tell me about that moment.
I had a next door neighbor, and her name is Laura. I don't remember her last name. And we were hanging out one night just talking, and she was older than I was, so I kind of had her, she was kind of wise, and she was wise, and she's insightful. And I was like, Laura, I'm thinking about like totally dropping out of school and traveling. And she was like, well, do it. I said, what? She's like, do it. That's all she said. She said, do it. And I went home after, went to my house, and I didn't sleep all night. I was like, whoa, I could really do that, huh? Oh, whoa.
That was the moment for you.
That was the moment. And I literally did not sleep. I didn't sleep that whole night. I was like, whoa, I can really do this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to grab the bull by the horns. I'm going to live my life.
So, Matt, it kind of feels like music's really just carried you throughout your life. Do you see it like that?
The music was my vehicle. It was the way I traveled through life, as if I had a parallel life that was the music. And then I had this life that was me, the me that I think that I am, and traveled through life through the music. And so I wanted to remember to say this to anyone that's listening to this program. If you have a thing like that in your life, if you have music, the music industry, or any other industry for that matter, they're powerful narratives that people spend time and energy crafting to attract us to put our energy into those narratives, right? And one of the narratives when I was growing up was, in the music industry as well, you got to be the best that you can be, play the best that you can play, and someone's going to discover you. And once you get discovered, you're going to get signed.
Right.
And once you get signed, then, it's, all bets are off. You've made it.
You've made it, yeah.
And this is maybe hard to conceive nowadays, where we have so much access to, anyone can self-produce, and anyone can put their stuff on the interwebs, as I like to call it. And back then it wasn't that, but the narrative was such that, well, just be the best you can be, hone your craft, be the best musician, singer, performer you can be, and everything else will take care of itself. Well, it did to a degree in my case, but it didn't on that extra, like being hugely successful in the industry. So I guess an alternative narrative I'd like to put out there is when a person has a thing, maybe it's you're a great accountant, maybe it's you're a coder, you're awesome. But whatever that thing is, that could very well be the thing that brings you through the course of this life. And in my case, it was the music that did that. And so those of you who maybe want to have a sane life, don't want to become rich and famous, we just want to have a family and get along with your wife or whatever, your husband or whatever, however it works, whatever your case may be, because there's a million cases. There are alternatives, ways of gaining success in your life that you're in control of to a great degree, that's not farmed out to somebody else. Music brought me all of my lovely guitars. It brought me all my lovely travels. It brought me my wife, and it brought me my babies.
It brought you everything.
It brought me all the riches in life. I came through music. It also brought me all my disasters, but
well,
but you can't have one without the other.
No, we should get into some of that. But first, we haven't heard you play live.
Yeah,
we need to get you playing live.
What did I say the first
Sunshine.
Okay.
So tell us about what you can play for us live.
So this song has got a very simple title. It's called Sunshine. I wrote this tune while I was on a tour promoting the Matt Harding album that we did with Ground Loop Records, which is Scott Wiley and George Brunt. And I was touring with a drummer from Paris named Frank Montigari and a keyboard player named Mikel Aspiros from San Sebastian in Spain. The Wileys were nice enough to let us stay at their house in Pasadena. And I was sitting in their hot tub in the back, and this came out. It goes like this. It goes, we live in a sea of waves with oceans of sound, rivers of emotion funneling down to the harvest we reap after the seeds we sow. Holding on and letting go. In your heart there is desire, a pain you wish to kill. You still think that you need her, at least that's the way you feel. And she's calling you closer, moving fast, moving slow. And she calling you closer. She won't say yes, she won't say no. Just like breathing, just breathing all the beautiful sunshine. Sunshine, sunshine. You know that poverty's born of slavery, and all its many guises, where denial spawns confusion, avoiding all surprises. Voices calling you further, out beyond the great divide, where the lightning cuts asunder all your shame and all your pride. Just breathe in, just breathe in all the beautiful sunshine, 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 sunshine. On a rainy day.
Sunshine on a rainy day. I love that. I think that's a beautiful imagery, and I wasn't expecting that at the end because I was all in on the sunshine, and then the rainy day came right there at the end. Tell me a little bit more about that last lyric. What made you want to throw in that at the end?
So just being a really straight-laced kid, I don't think anybody in high school ever heard me swear. Like, I played football, I played basketball, I ran track, I played rugby, but there was a fire inside of me that I didn't know about. I didn't know that I had it. It had kind of a rage, and it would come out in football. I'd flip my switch, and I'd just become like this killer. It was almost like I had a split personality. It's like I'm this kind of easygoing guy, ha 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 ha, and then switch, boom, and then I'm somebody else. And I think a lot of us, I think it's kind of human. Yeah. That's kind of, I guess, what helps us survive. And at that time, I didn't really know what the abyss was in my life. I found the abyss in Shanghai. I found my low, like my lowest of lows, my darkest of nights. And any movie that you've ever seen about any, I don't know, Johnny Cash or Elvis, the archetype of the singer, the Nina Simone, the the Janis Joplin, the whoever, is there's the talent, the charisma, the attraction to substances.
Yeah.
And when I say substance, I'm talking about mostly alcohol. No one taught me how. It's something you have to know how to do. You can't just walk into that and think that you're going to be okay. So long story short, I just had been on a bender for years, moderating to the degree that I could function. And then just a series of events happened that I hit rock bottom, just done. And I almost feel like I died, like a part of me died, because I got to a point where if I was this miserable person that I felt like I experienced the misery of myself, like what an awful person. What died in my darkest abyss was the false recollection of my goodness. And I experienced my own low. And I think all of us in life, whether we know it or not, whether we go looking for it or it comes looking for you, we will all, in our own way, will all experience our lowest low. And will likely also experience our highest high. In a lot of ways, the songs that I wrote, in addition to being a vehicle that got me from place to place, they were almost like a journal that existed outside of time. There were words that came to me in songs that preceded events happening.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it happened a lot. Where the lightning cuts asunder all your shame and all your pride. I wrote that in 2006. I was nobody. I'd seen my darkness. I lived my darkness. And I remembered a scripture. It said, pure love casteth out fear. And it came into my mind. And I was in my own psychological way, I was in darkness. And I saw like this little pinprick of light in my mind's eye. And it grew, and it grew. And it took months and months for me to not think that I was just the worst of worst people. And over time, I got out of it, was able to recuperate that which I thought I was on the verge of losing. From that point forward, the goodness, the deep treasures of my life were then manifest in the form of my wife and my children. Every time I want to be cool now anymore, when I want to like just stand up and be like, oh, I'm this and I'm that, I remember that I wasn't. I remember that I was nothing.
Do you feel your story is one of redemption?
Absolutely. And it was literally that, a light, just a light. No ideology, no philosophy. It was a light. And I was in darkness.
Wow. Matt, that's an incredible story. Thank you so much for sharing. What's the next recorded song that you'd like to play for us?
This song, Do What You Want, it was in Shanghai. It was in 2011. I put together a series of songs. I called it NYOSSS, NYOSS.
Nice.
And it stands for New York, Orem, Shanghai, and San Sebastian. One of the songs from there is called Do What You Want. And it's basically a self-reflection saying, you know, the first line is, if you do what you want, will you want what you want come tomorrow?
Oh, yeah.
So it's something to think about. And that comes from one of my brothers, Rob. He had a neighbor that said to him, an older guy, when he was just starting his life, his family life, said, Rob, why don't you do what you want to do when you want to do it? Because when you get older, you might not want to do it anymore. So that's kind of where that idea, if you do what you want, will you want what you want come tomorrow? So that's what that's about.
That's a perfect preface to this. So let's take a listen to this one. This one's called Do What You Want by Matt Harding, recorded in Shanghai. This is Jam Chats on BYU Radio.
If you do what you want, will you want what you want come tomorrow? I'll be surprised when you find it was all in your mind made to order. Autumn-colored jet trails in the sky. People walk the streets and never wonder why. Go If you don't go, you just might regret it. Seem like time wait for nobody's fool. There I go, now I said it. Or get all high and make yourself a scene. Do something that no one's ever been. Do your time and you'll be on the road again. Years go by, flying around with the sun going down. If you want and you got it, just reach out your hand, forsake your sin. Your confusion, illusion will end when the music begins. Voices whispering from another plane. Hearing them, you'll never be the same. Doing fine till you be on your own again. Life go by, head in your hand, trying hard not to cry. If you do what you want, when you want, when you do what you want, if you want, I will run like I run when I'm under the gun. I will free my whole being to see what you see with your eyes burning. When you do what you want, when you want, when you do what you want, when you
Matt, that's beautiful. You know, the thing is I have a hard time pinning you down to a style and to a genre. There's just this warmth that comes out of your music. But also, I can feel influences from all over the world. I can feel your travel. Sometimes I hear a little maybe Paul Simon in your music. Was he an influence?
He's a huge influence.
Yeah, I can hear a little of that, you know, where I feel like he was also influenced by many different styles, maybe even some African influence.
So you heard that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's in there for sure.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So my heart led me to blues because I could feel that I could resonate with blues. It's this sincere expression of soul. I think it was John Lee Hooker. He said something about people having this perspective of the blues or perception of the blues that it's just down and, you know, it's terrible. And why would you want the blues? Remember this guitar student that said, I've never had the blues. I've never felt blue in my life. But the whole point of the blues was, I'll play the blues to get the blues off me. That was the sentiment that I heard from that particular artist. I think it was John Lee Hooker. To get the blues off me. I sing the blues to get the blues off me.
This whole season on Jam Chats, there has been kind of a theme. It feels like sad songs. People play and artists write sad songs to feel good. Mm-hmm. Tell us about what you think about that. Because you've got some sad songs too.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I think, having the advantage of being able to look back over time and see what it was. I had some very deep hurts, some deep traumas that I wasn't consciously aware of until I got older, that I had to work through. Even music, even being a teenager, it was my guitar that got me through the lonely nights. It was, sometimes it was people, but it was always the guitar. Music has never let me down. Never, ever, 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 ever. Never let me down. Going back to that idea of the vehicle, and then the balm of Gilead, the parallel life, the diary, the companion. So the sad songs, yeah, they helped a lot. They helped to express something that I wasn't even consciously aware of. Mm-hmm. Now my aim is to put a lot of light into the music. And you mentioned African influence. You talked about Paul Simon. What Eric Clapton was to me for the blues, Paul Simon was to me for African music. And I realized after having gone and recorded this album in 2000 was that the connection between blues and African music it's not a connection, it's the same music. It's that West African rhythmic architecture approach to being, living, is all in that music that has its infinite manifestations musically. If you think about American, quote unquote, American popular music, funk, that's African-based. Blues is African-based. Jazz is African-based.
That's right.
And when I say that, realize I'm trying to give credit where credit is due. There were a lot of people who contributed, a lot of cultures contributed to all of those music, but I would argue that without that underlying architecture, that rhythmic architecture that had the ability to absorb all those other musics and to give them life, it wouldn't have been the same thing. And I've made it kind of like my life purpose to heed the call of those rhythms. I feel power in the rhythms. I feel awakening in the rhythms. I feel challenged. I don't claim to be very good at them, but I certainly appreciate them and appreciate those who do them well because it's a whole different level of being.
Matt, we've been talking about the blues. The last couple of songs we've listened to been a little less bluesy. Do you have something maybe a little more back into the blues?
Yeah, here's a song that I hadn't talked about this explicitly yet, but I spent a lot of time in Spain. I lived in Spain for around 10 years off and on. In the northern part of Spain, a place called San Sebastián. That's the Spanish name, and it's called Donostia, which is the Basque name for the town. What people don't know they think Spain is always sun. Well, the northwestern part of Spain is not so different from the northwest of the Pacific Northwest of the U.S. And we were talking about sad songs, right? I kind of wanted to change that. After I kind of figured out where a lot of my sad songs were coming from, where it's kind of, I don't want to say healed from me. I don't know if we ever heal from our hurts. Yeah. But we were able to compartmentalize them or put them in a place that's manageable, right? That we can move on with our life. And I just wanted to write a song that was more of a reflection about, well, like a lot of my stuff, is just my reflections on life. So this is called Rainbow Blues, and it has to do with a period of time in the northwest of Spain, in the Basque Country, where it rained literally for 3 months. It goes like this, so... Been raining so long, for so many days, we ain't seen the sun. Start to mess with your mind, being locked up inside with nowhere to run. Occasional rainbow appear right over your head. Occasional rainbows tell you go back to bed, so you go back to bed. The drip and the drop, it ain't gonna stop until you are dead. A new baby cries night after night, sleep you deprived. And it's the cycle of life, the struggle of being, ensuring you survive. Occasional beings appear inside of your dreams. They give you the feeling that things ain't all that they seem, ain't all that they seem. The tick and the talk, hands on the clock, keep you in time. Occasional rainbows appear right over your head. Occasional rainbows tell you go back to bed, so you go back to bed. The drip and the drop, it ain't gonna stop until you are dead.
I can just imagine you sitting in Spain, rain's falling, and just, curled up on a couch playing the guitar. I had the whole picture right there.
What is it about the blues? I don't know, it just makes you feel good.
I really do think it's something to do with the rhythmic regularity. It allows us to shake off the calcifications and feel.
So speaking of songs that make you feel, Matt, you have a song called Innocence, and I've loved that song for some time. Could you talk about the story behind that song?
So I made reference earlier to some traumas that I experienced as a kid that I wasn't really aware of fully. I was in a situation where my expectations and what I thought I was supposed to do with my life in a certain way was just falling apart, just falling to pieces. And it was largely falling to pieces because of these unacknowledged traumas in my life that would affect my real-time behavior. And so when I was young, I was abused on various occasions over time. And it made it so, in a way, I didn't have a certain part of my childhood. That was taken away from me. And it was something that made my adult life unbearable on a certain level because it was one of those things that I talked about the rage before and how there was a switch. And I think that has a lot to do with that rage was being violated. Having your space, you're being violated, violence. And when one gets big enough to defend themselves, then that's where that opposite side comes in. Like, well, I can defend myself now. I couldn't then. And so that song came out of innocence you left before I knew you were gone. Mm-hmm. That's what that song was about. Now, I know a lot of people, the statistics are quite high. This is not an uncommon story. And it's not to be made light of. I know it made me suffer greatly in my life. But let me tell you one silver lining, and I hope that it is a silver lining, is that those who were supposed to protect me were also, in a sense, innocent. They didn't suspect that I was supposed to be protected from certain things. And when those certain things were presented, they didn't know how to behave. They didn't know how to react to it. Hopefully, now that I have children, I can be vigilant and that I can protect them. So I'd take that hit any day, every day, if my kids don't have to go through what I went through.
Oh, wow. That's a beautiful way to look at it, having had that trauma in your life.
But so many people have it. CJ.
Yeah.
So many people have. It's like we don't talk about it a lot, and when we do talk about it, it's almost always laden with a lot of pain because we can't talk about it. But I'm cool talking about it like there is a silver lining in my case, in the sense that now I know what I can look out for. And when I was in the presence of people who had suffered much more than I, who have done much better with their character building personally than I had to a certain point, sat there like get over it, move on. And no one wants to hear that. If someone would have said that to me, it wouldn't have helped. So I'm not saying it in that way, but I said that to myself at a certain point. I said that to myself, well, all right, it's time to get over it. You're going to let that thing rob you of life into your future. And now look how it can help you, because you can hopefully take care of those who you're protecting, who you're in charge of protecting and keeping them safe from that pitfall, from that danger.
I think that's beautiful. And I think it's beautiful that you have taken this mantra of protect others from this pitfall. I want to protect my children from this pitfall. I think that's absolutely beautiful. For our listeners, I haven't heard this song. I know CJ loves it. I'd love for everybody to hear this song. Let's listen to it then. Everybody, this is Innocence by Matt Harding. You're listening to Jam Chats on BYU Radio.
Sing me a happy tune, take me back to a place where I can recognize something. Pick up that guitar and try to make sense of what don't make sense anymore. Sing a song so sweetly so I can forget demons hanging on my shoulder. Shout it out so loud till I don't know what I don't know anymore. Innocence, you left before I knew you were gone. Loneliness took your place at my table. Emptiness came around and picked up the pieces. Innocence, there's a price to pay for everything. Love came down like a rain, so soft and warm. It destroyed all my defenses, held me up in her arms so smooth. I knew I was a little boy again. Innocence, you left before I knew you were gone. Loneliness took your place at my table. Emptiness came around to pick up the pieces. Innocence, there's a price to pay for everything. You know, I used to like to write love songs, 'cause they gave me something to hope for. But lately all my love songs have turned to sad songs, and I wonder what I've done wrong. Still I wonder what I've done wrong.
Well, Matt, that got me going again. Innocence, you left before I knew you were gone. And for me, now I'm remembering, so I'm a middle-aged man at this point.
Hate to tell you, CJ, middle age is when we were in our 30s.
Hate to tell you, CJ, I'm middle-aged.
But you grow up and you think, well, everything's up. And once I make it, I'm going to feel good and life's going to be great. But sometimes you wake up and you have everything you want. I've got 5 kids. Wow. I've got a beautiful marriage. I've got a wonderful job. I've got cool coworkers like Rimey here. And you wake up and you're so lonely.
Wow.
And I think what it was is I lost my innocence. And I started to realize what life really is. It's a lot of hard work and there's joy in the middle of a lot of work. And I think I was just mourning the childhood innocence when I hear this song.
Well, that's the essence of it. I think if you cut away the particulars of my experience, the universal experience is what you just said. Mm-hmm. Because that's what I was lamenting as well. And but the cool thing is I think it's still there to be found.
Yeah.
It's still there somewhere, somehow, some way.
I think I got to go back and find it, But isn't music great, Rimey? I mean, it really just takes you places emotionally. I mean, it's therapy, right?
Well, I think it's shared therapy too. Like, I think what's special about it is we are enjoying, something that Matt created, a particular feeling that he's translated, and it's a language that I think you understand in your own way, and I understand in my own way, and we all get to share and partake of it. It's a group activity that's totally individual to everybody.
Well said.
Thank you. I'm middle-aged, so I'm pretty wise. No, I'm kidding. I wanted to ask, though, you talked a little bit about this before we jumped into the song. A lot of the innocence that you talked about, you want to preserve for your children. It seems like kind of the beginning of your life, it was very focused on you. And as of late, it seems like you've kind of focused more on the next generation, giving back. Because from what I hear, you're also involved in education at this point of your life. Tell me why... What has changed from focus on Matt Harding to focus on the next generation?
I would say my life was very self-centered. It's very the definition of egotistical. And in fact, I was 42 when my first child was born. And I wasn't an instant good dad or didn't instantly love it because it all of a sudden kind of impinged upon the lifestyle that I'd cultivated for the past 20 years. That I was in the nightlife. I was out all the time. I didn't want to be at home. In that Rainbow Blues, it says, a new baby cries, night after night, sleep you deprive. But it's the cycle of life, the struggle of being, ensuring you survive. So that was living through that. My wife, holy cow, what effort to bring a child into the world. Yeah. And then to she nursed our children and she fed our children when they moved on, and just all that effort, the staying up at night, waking up, and that world that I wasn't privy to intimately prior to participating in it. Of course, that's going to change one's focus. Definitely has broadened my palette of experiences so that I can relate to my parents better. Mm-hmm. I can relate to people who don't have kids better because I was childless for 42 years of my life. Yeah, I'd never switch. But there was a time when I didn't want children at all. I didn't want anything to do with it. I didn't want the risk. I didn't want the danger. I'd already had my heart broken enough times that I was like, why would anyone do this on purpose? But now, from today, I'd say my treasure in life is my wife and my children. Absolutely.
Matt, this has been so fun having you on the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
It's been really enjoyable for me as well.
It's fun to get to know you and about your 10 lives that you've lived, Before we end today, we'd love to hear one more song. What do you have for us?
So I'm going to play for you the latest song that I've written. And I wrote this one in Brazil. I was sitting on the balcony with the moon overhead and a breeze blowing off of the ocean. So this was one of those times where just I was getting a download, and it's a contemplation on mortality. And we all probably will get to a point, if we're lucky, where we can at least reflect on it a little bit. And this has never been played in public before. So I played it for maybe some friends, and my wife and kids have heard it, but here we go. Cooling breeze in night, accompanied by the sound of the moonlight, finally taking flight. He flung his bliss to the darkened abyss, searching for second sight. Scenes from past lifetimes seep into the grooves and the rhymes. Memories sublime of the dreams that glide on gossamer wings to the new life. The will to move on, the will to remain, collide in a light cascade, descending on your head and your heart. Da 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 da. Ba da 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 da. Ba da 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 da. Cast off all your woes, slip into them water holes, float to nobody knows where a current rolls to a resting place for wandering souls. The will to remain, the will to move on, collide in a light cascade, descending on your head and your heart.
Seems like the perfect song to end on.
The thing that I thought I wanted to say, but this took a different turn, was just to present a narrative or a frame in which we can view music outside just the mainstream music narrative. The music can be a wonderful thing for so many people in their lives. You're a musician. It can be yours your whole life. It will accompany you throughout your life. You don't have to make money off of it. You can use it, it can use us to help highlight the community that we have, to help with our children. Like I didn't know my kids could sing, because I don't push music on them. Music for me is dessert. No one has to be forced to eat dessert. And no one forced music on me. It just came out. And it's going to be a beautiful thing when they come to it, and we have this thing with our family that is, I guess, the continuation of a tradition that you guys helped me to see that I come from.
Matt, I think that's really refreshing. A lot of people, when they come in and they say, hey, I'm a singer-songwriter, I've written some music, or, I love music. What's the first thing everyone asks them? They say, oh, you know what? You should be on American Idol, because then maybe you can get a record deal and you could be famous, And what you've said, and it sounds like it's helped you in your life, is that music doesn't always have to lead to one path.
Right.
It can be, like you said, it could be a healing thing in your life. It could be something that brings you joy. It could be your companion, yeah.
I met my wife. She came to a show. That's how I met her, in Spain.
Music's really brought you everything in your life.
Everything.
What a blessing. Well, Matt, as we wrap this one up, we need to let everyone know how to get a hold of you. It seems like you're hard to find on the internet. Like, if you do a search for Matt Harding music, It's like you have to really be looking for your music. Is that on purpose? Do you want people to listen to your music?
I wish that my hope would be that people who would want to listen to it would have access to it. So I've got a Facebook. I think it's called the Matt Harding Project, and I accept anybody who wants to be my friend on Facebook. And I know that's for old people, but guilty as charged. And I've got a YouTube. I've got some live footage of me playing, and my stuff is. A record label probably wouldn't want it. And then some of my first recordings I did with Scott Wiley. He had a house in Orem on 2000 South that I recorded part of my Sketches album. I couldn't find Sketches. I have it nowhere.
Guys, even Matt Harding can't find Matt Harding, so you're okay. You should just give everyone your phone number. If I would call you,
I'll give you guys what I have, and you can put it in your links.
This has been awesome.
Sounds amazing.
We should end on this.
Matt, it's been such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Such a pleasure.
Thanks, you guys, for doing this. Holy cow!
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
I'm CJ,
and I'm Rimey,
and I'm Matt Harding.
Good night.